Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Weight Loss Journey, where Scott does his weekly check-in with nutrition coach Cheryl Nasso every week live on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notifier so you first know when new episodes come out. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Weight Loss Journey. So I don't know if you know this, but Twitter now, for us to go live on Twitter or X, you have to pay a subscription fee.
Oh.
So I had it set up where it was doing that for a while, and all the shows that I had set up prior to this notice, now like I get this big error message whenever we launch, and like I have to remove us from Twitter before we actually can start talking. So there's a little scramble mode behind the scenes there.
I don't even use Twitter. I never got into it. I don't know.
I'm not like I'm kind of I'll never remember to call it X, but I use it during football season because it is the fastest way to get news about your team.
Yeah, it's funny. What's up, Cory? I actually hopped on the EMOM train. I
heard a rumor.
I know we're doing your Clydesdale Media, but I got to tell you, I hopped on. I did a deload week, and I knew I was looking for. I know this is Scott's journey, but Coach Cheryl here needs a little love too. I had just been off of following a program for a long time. I had just been back and forth and between injuries and just not feeling good and kind of being in my own pity party. Had just been doing kind of like bits and pieces of things and doing my own programming. And I just had actually one of my clients who, she's a semifinal athlete. I was like, you should check out this program. I was kind of like, oh, maybe I'll check it out, and I had a free trial. So I was like, well, what's the worst that could happen? You get fitter. And I started following it. So it's been nice to have some people. When I saw Cory on there, I was like, yes, I love it. So yeah, it's been good to slowly get back into the grind of things and very humbling. I'm happy that I've been able to do a lot of the workouts, but damn, some days I'm like, I can't believe how unfit I got myself. So, but it's been fun for sure. Getting back into it.
Cheryl is effing killing it.
Oh, well, thanks, Cory. Yesterday, I think it was killing me. When you have an EMOM with 10 squat cleans at 95, 135 sandwiched in between other things, and you're on an EMOM, it's singles aren't really fun because then you don't get any rest, and holding onto the barbell isn't any fun either. So, but yeah, it's been fun stuff for sure. So anywho, that's my little update.
You said this is my journey, but this is one of the reasons we're doing this show. It's been a couple weeks since we've been on. You've had so much going on in your life. I've had so much going on in my life. It's just complete chaos. And we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
One of the things that you and we met last week and had a very long heart to heart and talked about a lot of things. And we made the decision that we want to revamp the show.
Yeah.
And we want it to be more than just about me or you, but we want it to be about the community. Mm-hmm. And so we want to come up with different ways to be more interactive, like maybe have a weekly workout challenge where everybody can share video from their workouts, or have people on from the chat on the show to talk about their journey. And it doesn't mean we're going to get away from updating you on how I'm doing and things like that, but we don't want that to be the sole focus anymore.
Yeah.
We want it to be a community program that involves everybody. And so we have made the decision that after today's show, we're going to take a couple weeks off till after the CrossFit Games. And then we're going to come back rebranded, new name, same people, but hopefully more community involvement.
Yeah. And I kind of want to add on to this, because even as I was saying, that deflection, right, of I didn't want to talk about me because it's a Scott's journey story. I don't want that anymore, because guess what? I struggle too. And I'm sure that a lot of you guys can relate to feeling, if you've been doing CrossFit for a long time, Scott, I know you have. In fact, I heard you talk about how you're no longer the 2016 Scott. We all experience things in our own journeys that can make staying consistent and staying happy about the process feel like such a struggle. And I think that what I want you guys to get from Scott's story from day one, and what I want to be able to help you guys with here, is helping to remind you guys that you're not alone, and also being able to relate to you guys. I mean, yeah, I've been doing CrossFit since 2010 and I still program hop. Like, that's a bad habit, right? So I'm like, damn, I'm following a program again. You guys know how that feels. And I want to be able to offer you guys that as well. And I think that it'll be cool for us to maybe pop up some like Q&As on the Clydesdale stories. And maybe every week we can answer some listener questions related to my thoughts are making this podcast really about helping you guys improve your own fitness journey, whether it's with CrossFit stuff, coaching stuff, whether it's with life stuff, whether it's with mostly nutrition stuff. So guys, one of my biggest things that I'm passionate about is teaching the CrossFit community how to fuel themselves appropriately to get leaner, get fitter, get healthier. Like, that's really what I want for everybody. So this show has just been a great platform, and Scott can be a great example for a lot of people out there who do struggle, because I don't struggle with the same things that Scott struggles with. And his story is going to resonate with other people. So that's my input as well.
The other thing we want to do is keep the fun part of the show. And even though it's going to have more of a plan and more of a focus, we still want to have those fun questions like, what's that fun food you like to have? Or why does gum help you when you're dieting? Or what tricks do you use instead of gum? Like all those things we dive off to. And so we want to keep all that as part of the fun thing of the show, and keep you guys involved as a community, sharing all of those fun and funny aspects of what you go through.
Yeah, because I mean, like, some of the most fun episodes for me, I don't know if you can relate, is when you guys are in the chat talking about things that are like completely off the wall and it like totally brings us off topic but into something else, and it can be super fun. So by the way, talking about like nutrition, fitness related crazy stuff, did y'all see that Richard Simmons died? Like,
I did.
That's a perfect example of a topic that we could talk about. I mean, that was my first introduction to fitness, was watching my mom sweating to the oldies and the freaking VHS tape in the living room. So just
my wife had disco sweat, had sweating to the oldies. She had all of them.
Sweating to the oldies. That's what I remember my mom. It's just crazy, but a little tangent. So anyways, I love that we're talking about this. And if you guys have any, maybe some suggestions on what we could name this, I like using the Clydesdale, and I just like it to just, Clydesdale weight loss journey just sounds good. Y'all got suggestions? You want to put some thoughts up? Maybe I'll send out some.
It's not just a weight loss journey anymore. It's about fitness. It's about fun. It's about, like, we want to incorporate all that into it.
Yeah.
We keep Clydesdale in there,
yeah,
but we want to add like what it's all about.
I even want to talk about like the stuff that people don't talk about, like the stuff that happens at the gym, right? Like the random person that like has so much chalk on their hands for burpees. I just want to make this podcast episode one that you guys that go to a CrossFit gym and you want to have some people to talk to about all the things you experience, and your husband or your wife sit at the dinner table is like, I don't care about your thrusters. and I'm looking at you like you have three heads. You guys have a place to come on and chat about it.
So Judy Reed says, R.I.P. Richard. I was a big Gilad fan. Anyone remember him?
I remember him. Yep.
I have to be on, Judy, this is transparency here. I could not wait till Gilad was over so I could see Cory Everson's workout.
Gilad was after Richard Simmons though, right?
So ESPN back in the day used to have like a workout block around lunchtime.
Yeah.
And Gilad was a half an hour. Denise Austin was a half an hour. And then Cory Everson.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, Cory Everson.
Yeah.
She was my crush when I was a young boy.
Yeah. See, my mom just had the VHS tape. So I didn't watch it on ESPN. It was mom's workout time. So she'd put in the tape, and then she would sometimes try and get me to do it. Like, I guess I needed to sweat to the oldies too. And she had Buns of Steel. That was the other one she had. Those were the two that she had. By the way,
one of the topics could be your early exercise influence, like Jane Fonda, Richard Simmons.
Well, okay. So talking about my journey, how did I get into fitness? I was literally up one night, eating too much food, drinking too much alcohol, and was flipping through the television. And, between the hours of like 11 and 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, it was nothing but infomercials. I found a Beachbody, which had like 2 programs at the time. I found a Beachbody program, and I'm like, you know what? It's time to do something. I literally bought off of an infomercial. That's how I got into fitness. So
I bought Beachbody too before I started CrossFit, like 08, 09.
Yeah.
I got the Beachbody. Man, it was hard.
Mine was earlier than that. I was 2004. I'm older than you. I'm older than you in the Beachbody world. Like I said, back then, I think Beachbody had Debbie Sieber's Slim and Six, which is what I got. They had P90. I don't even think they had P90X yet. And I think they had like one other program, and that was it.
Tony Horton was P90X, which has been mentioned as well. And Tony Horton did the original Beachbody, and that's the one I ordered.
That's he was like one of the OGs. But Billy Blanks, I remember him too. You guys remember Zumba? There's another one. See, this is the stuff that like we got it rolling already. Everyone in that show. Imagine if there was a CrossFit like workout show.
Yeah.
I mean, I think StreamYard kind of tried to do that. They kind of like tried to make like a, like a virtual, I don't know. Could you just imagine like mimicking your CrossFit coach doing Fran? Like trying to keep up, like it would be so different. Cause like back then, or like when you're watching the videos, like they're going at a tempo and you're trying to keep up with them. They're like down and up. Imagine like trying to keep up with one of your coaches doing like a workout, and you're like, it'd be totally different stimulus, but just something.
But we want to do similar things. We want to have like a workout of the week that everybody can tackle. Mm-hmm. It's something basic that you can do in your garage, and that we can talk about from week to week.
We can make that the Monday workout that we've been talking about with you. So we'll make that like the
one you sent me yesterday was so easy.
Are you kidding me? Right?
Send me one.
I did.
I never got it.
You didn't get it in the Trainer Eyes app?
I did not.
I have to double check on that in your app, because I know I sent it last week after we talked. I remember I was typing it in as I was doing my walk. So, but yeah, it was bike and sandbag squats, and then bear hug carries.
I'll double check. Okay. I was too busy because I went to Michigan this weekend.
Okay.
And that was a workout alone. Deep sand, trudging back and forth from lane to lane, trying to video. Oh my goodness, my legs hurt so bad yesterday.
Yeah, so let's kind of, I guess, roll into a little bit of you. So fill us in. Oh, Jack.
Denise Moore. I used to watch Jack LaLanne. That's how old I am.
He was the juicer guy, right?
Well, before that, he was an exercise.
Well, I know that, but I just know him as like the guy that like was like super healthy, and it was like, oh, the juicing, it must be the juicing. No, ain't the juicing. But so where were you this weekend? You were at the Fresh Coast, something like that?
Fresh Coast Fit Fest. It's on Lake Michigan in Michigan. And it's a big festival that's a CrossFit competition. And it's growing so big because it's right around where Rich grew up. So now Rich competes in it every year. And he brought Ben Davidson and Dre Strom and Dan Bailey with him this year, plus some friends, cousins. Darren Hunsaker was there. 8th Day CrossFit, who puts teams in the games all the time. Huge presence there. They're just down the road in Grand Rapids.
That's awesome.
So major competition, and it's just beautiful. It's a huge sandy. The rig is in the sand. The whole competition is in the sand until you swim.
I think I remember watching like footage from them from last year, Rich, like on the YouTube channel. I remember like them like with the bikes, they had like little like black mats on the sand and all that kinds of stuff. So that sounds really awesome.
So they snatched on the sand this year on a piece of plywood on the sand.
Yeah, it's a little sketch. So
they had rooms for everybody beside so you could sweep real quick if you needed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little sketch, but
yeah, that's the stuff that I don't like doing. Where it gets like dangerous like that, I get kind of like risk versus reward, as long as they weren't super heavy, I guess, So
it was a ladder, so you could go as far as you wanted to go.
Yeah. Okay.
The first event was actually the beach workout from the games in 2014 team, where they had the raft.
Oh yeah,
the raft out around the buoys.
Yeah,
that was the first event.
It's funny that I say that, the whole sand thing. My very first regionals was in Jacksonville Equestrian Center, and it was so bad. It was sand, and we had just little black platforms. And I remember that was the year that we had it was a squat, clean, and thruster ladder, and the standards on it were so strict. Like if you moved your foot, it wouldn't count, but it was so uneven. So it just craziness. But anyways, well, I feel like, I wouldn't have known you were away because I looked at your nutrition and it looks like you logged this weekend, which typically when you're out of town, it's usually a little bit more difficult for you. So boom, that's a win. Because I know after our talk on Thursday, you were like, I need to just get back in the saddle. So I'm proud of you.
I logged the entire trip.
Yeah. It looks like you kept it pretty simple. Did you pack your food?
I didn't.
Oh, so you
I packed some. I did pack some, but dinners were out and
yeah, because that's what I was like. It looks like it was pretty basic, just breakfast, lunch, dinner for the most part.
That's pretty much what it was.
And then when did you get back home? Sunday night?
Sunday at 2.
Okay, I gotcha. Awesome.
So then we had, and what I did, we had chicken and zucchini on Thursday before we left, and I made an extra serving for each of us. So when we got back Sunday, it was waiting and just needed heated up, and that was
awesome. I love doing that. That's the easiest thing for me. In fact, I put out in my Facebook group last week a new recipe. It came out really good. If you like Alfredo, it's a high protein chicken Alfredo, but it also freezes very well. And it's one of those things that you can make in a batch and then put a couple in the freezer and it's good. So, but
I am all into fresh vegetables right now. We actually have some here in Ohio. So if you notice, I'm eating a lot of tomatoes, a lot of zucchini, a lot of carrots.
Yeah.
Because it's all fresh.
Yeah. It's so funny that you say that because I feel like I can get vegetables whenever.
Well, that's because you live in Florida.
Is it really hard? It's crazy. It's bizarre to me. I guess that there is places in the world. I guess it depends. So I have a client that lives in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes she's like, it's really hard to get good food here because she's got 2 very low end grocery stores. So if she wants to go somewhere, she has to drive 40 minutes. And the closest one is a Walmart, which we all know that getting produce from Walmart is you might as well be buying produce from last year's Christmas. So it's hard. So I guess I don't think about it, I think it's the whole seasonal thing. I always tried to get into that, but I never really could.
Florida has 2 growing seasons.
Yeah.
I live there. We have 1 growing season.
Yeah. I just feel like people talk about it's good to eat seasonally, but I'll be honest, I don't do that. I probably could, but I get kind of in ruts. I like other vegetables like eggplant and stuff like that, but I just don't change what I eat. I like to just keep it simple. Maybe I should expand a little bit more. So
I think in the North that may be a topic we could talk about. In the North, you have to change because things just aren't available some parts of the year.
Well, there's a lot of down here and a lot of farmers, and they do have farmers markets, and that's going to be what's seasonal. But I just go to Publix and get my normal routine veggies. So I'm kind of stuck in my broccoli, asparagus, zucchini, and cauliflower. Those are kind of my 4 staples.
Yeah, there's times I can't get zucchini.
Yeah, I would say yes. There's times down here too where I'll go to buy it and I'm very picky about zucchini. This is this is going to be maybe, can you relate to this? Zucchini, I don't like the big ones when there's all the seeds in them. It's got to be the smaller zucchini where there's not a lot of seeds, because there's too many seeds. I feel like the texture of it, when you cook it, it gets mushy. So won't eat it. I'm like very picky about that.
So yeah, Heidi, I can get frozen vegetables. I just prefer having fresh, and I would rather have whatever is fresh
Agreed.
than a frozen alternative.
And I also feel like there's only certain vegetables that are okay to eat frozen. Like I won't eat frozen zucchini. There's just no, it's like mushy. But like I'll do frozen broccoli. I'll do the cauliflower rice. Like I don't like frozen Brussels sprouts. They just don't taste the same. I don't know. There's just some things that just don't taste good frozen. But I always have a stash of frozen veggies in. So, but yeah, I was super stoked.
So am I, Cory. So am I. I am bougie as hell.
Yeah, I would agree. It's better to pay more for the better stuff. So like I said, I'm very happy with you tracking, getting back on track with things with that. And I think that like right now, our main focus, I kind of want to like talk about like what I feel like my goals for you are right now is, I think we talk a lot about tracking food. Like, why are we tracking food? Obviously, it's because, well, we want to know what's going in so we can obviously make changes and adjustments. But I think instead, let's focus on the health perspective and the perspective of like what we're trying to change is we're trying to lose fat. We're trying to improve blood biomarkers, but we're also looking at like optimizing how you're feeling. So, and I think this is where people go into the problem when they go into macros or tracking is like, oh, I was under my calories, so I did good. Like, I think I want you actually working on like not just tracking your food, but actually having a plan to be within your nutrient ranges. And we've talked about this before, that I don't think that your nutrition ranges ever need to be spot on. I talked about this today on my own podcast. It's like when I say Scott's goal is 225 grams of protein or whatever it is, it doesn't mean that he has to be 225 grams of protein every single day. It means, hey, if you're at around 185 to 225, you're in a good range. I'm happy with that. Like a minimum and a maximum. And I think that just getting you for the next couple of weeks leading up to the games, just really focusing on balance that way without any pressure. And your goals right now just being action driven is where we can really make a lot of progress to get that consistency built in, because now tracking isn't really tracking food, it's planning food.
Okay.
I like that idea. And I think that that's a tip for anybody out there. And I can relate to this myself. When I first started tracking my own food back in the day, and well, I had take it back. I was a calorie counter when I was very young. And then when I got into using a tracking app, I was a lazy tracker. I was the girl that would track maybe part of my day. I wouldn't weigh all of my portions. I'd weigh my meat out. I wouldn't weigh the other things. And I would see like blank spots everywhere. When I actually started to track and look at those numbers and nutrients, I really started to feel so much better. But I also was able to improve my relationship with food, because prior to that, I was just like you, Scott, and I was like told like carbs are the devil. Like don't eat grains. Don't eat those foods. They're bad for you. And in doing that, I would go through periods where I would be super strict on my diet. And then I would tell myself, oh, I'm going to eat a little bit of this and that. And then I would feel like crap about myself. So I actually stopped having cravings, and I was able to start to feel better, look better, perform better, and all those things by focusing on that. So yeah, I think that we can work on planning that in and planning things in and making that part of what our focus point is going into the next couple of weeks, is just this way. Cause I did note, and this weekend's not a good example because you were out of town, but you need way more than 1,200 calories. But I know that you're like, well, I tracked and I feel, and that's why we track. Like, okay, we know you were definitely under a little bit this weekend, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not ideal this weekend, so I made the best of it because I didn't have time to pack a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And that's really what it is. I would much rather somebody who's looking to improve their insulin sensitivity, lose fat, I would much rather you be under than over, as long as you're not seeing a huge drop in your energy to where it's causing anxiety or stress, or it doesn't trigger a huge binge response where all of a sudden you're like starving. Those are the two things to watch out for. And I don't think either of those things happen. You were probably having entirely too much fun.
Yeah. And I was tired. Like I fell asleep early.
Yeah.
When you're trudging through a foot of sand all day, like you're whooped, and the sun was blazing hot and not a cloud in the sky. So it was a beautiful day, but man, it just took it out of me.
Yeah. How about your workouts? I know obviously this weekend was trudging and all that kinds of stuff. Yesterday was a rest day. Did you end up working out today?
So at lunch, I just lifted. It's been a stressful day. So I went to 185 on my clean, which is the most I've gone to in a very long time.
Awesome.
And just kept cleaning until I felt good. And then I'll probably go out and do like a zone 2 something tonight.
I think that honestly, Scott, for you, I know that getting to the gym right now has been very challenging. It might be good for you for maybe the next 2 weeks until the games with like, all right, let's do like a Monday monostructural type thing. Tuesday, lift. Wednesday, some kind of a conditioning thing. Thursday, maybe lift. Friday, maybe conditioning thing. Saturday and Sunday, rest or go do things with your wife and take the weekend off. And kind of do the same thing next week. That might be the best thing for you.
Yeah, it felt good to lift. I just haven't like even tried to go heavy on a lift.
Yeah.
I know 185 doesn't sound heavy, but it's heavy. It is the heaviest I've gone in a long time.
Well, listen, again, that's why we're changing direction of the show. We can all relate, myself included, to being like, wow, this isn't really heavy, but it feels heavy today. Like, as I was talking about those squat cleans at 95 pounds, I used to be able to easily do Elizabeth 21-15-9 squat cleans and ring dips in like 3.5 minutes unbroken. And I'm like doing sets of 10 yesterday at that weight. And I'm like, this feels so heavy, but I haven't been able to lift heavy in a very long time. So that is relatively heavy right now for me. So I get it though. It does. You always feel like you have to kind of reason with yourself. Well, it was just, in a while. So I think that, yeah, getting you back into some strength progressions would be good. Maybe post, we won't start anything now, but maybe after you get back from the games, you can maybe, I'm sure it's Christy, if you're going to go back to the gym, getting you into like a squat. I think they're just starting a cycle, but got to get you squatting again safely so that you don't, injure yourself again. But I think that's also, this is a great time. As I mentioned that I wanted the topic today really to be just about like consistency through chaos. Now is not the time for you to be making big changes. You've got travel plans in 2 weeks. I think that the next 2 weeks, it's like, let's just keep things consistent. Let's keep focusing on the actions that you're already doing and getting the reps built in. And that's what a lot of people should be doing at this time of year. But while you're in that, it's what's the next chapter look like? Okay. Like after the games, yes, you're going to have the Masters coming up. When is the Masters again?
Labor Day weekend.
Well, I don't know when Labor Day is. I can't remember. September.
It's like the first day of September.
Yeah. And is it, how many days is it? Is it 3 days?
4.
Okay. Well, that's good. I was going to say, then we can kind of look at, okay, post games until then, that's about 3 or 4 weeks, and we'll get some progress made, break for the games, and then we do it again, and then we kind of have like a little bit more of a cadence and you have a little bit more of a plan, because really, if you think about it, if we start looking at this now, August, September, October, that'll give us 12 to 16 weeks before the holiday season. Can you guys believe that I'm already saying that? August, September, October is 12 weeks. So we're looking at about 16 weeks of being able to really kind of put some work in and then take another little break. That's part of life, and where you're just coasting again, consistency through chaos.
So just to recap some things, we are taking a couple weeks off to revamp the show. We're looking for your input. We want it to be more community driven, with some things we can do together as a community. We want it to include everybody's journey, not just mine and Cheryl's, but we want everybody to join in on that. And with that, and we'll come back in a couple weeks with a new name, a new show, same people, same supportive group, and just keep keep on pushing.
All right, guys.
And just so you know, Cheryl and I are not taking a break. Her and I are still going to meet every week through this break.
Yes.
As we're going. It's just the show that's taking a break, revamping, so we can just kind of modify it and make it fit better. And even scheduling wise, so that our check-in is before the show.
Yeah. Scott's check-in, guys, every week is on Thursdays. So normally I do my client check-ins on Sunday, Monday, or Wednesday, Thursday. So he normally gets his check-in notes, and I'll usually review things, and we have some things to talk about on our call, and then going into this week for the show.
Yeah. So we want to flip it, because right now we do the show, then the check-in. We want it to be the check-in, then the show. So with that, Cory, we are on a break.
Yeah, I started reading the comments, which is never a good thing, because we could be on here for another hour just watching what Jake has to say, and Heidi and Jody and Judy, all of them.
Yeah, and just, we want it to be more, we want it to have a topic every week too that we talk about. And we want to keep the fun. We want like what your favorite foods are, the nostalgia of Gilad and Billy Blanks and Cory Everson and all of that stuff. We want to keep all that fun stuff in the show. We just want to we want it to be more community driven, and we want it to have a topic every week and more focused on everybody.
Yeah, what I'll probably end up doing, and we can end on this, is like have Scott and I put out every single week on our Instagram stories. So if you don't follow us, which you guys got to be following us on Instagram. Come on now. Is like a Q&A, so that if you guys have listener questions, we can make sure we're getting those answered too. And if you guys have specific things about nutrition, fitness, training, skills, life, whatever, or any topics that you want us to talk about, how come that we ain't talking about this? Like, bring it up. We want to talk about it. So,
and here's an idea. If you have something you did awesome in the gym and you have video of it, send it to us and we'll share it on the show.
Oh, I would love that. I love it.
Like a PR or just something you did that made you feel good that week.
Yeah.
We can cheer on everybody in the crowd.
Can we share our own PRs too, Scott?
We can.
Let's do that too. I love this. I'm like getting so super excited for this. It's gonna be great.
That's how we want it to be, more community.
Jake,
we'll share our stuff still.
Yeah.
We want you guys to share too.
Yeah, I'm just going to just comment. Jake, you can totally ask your men's health issues for sure. And I will be honest with you, okay? If I don't have the answer, I will be honest with you and tell you I don't have the answer, and I will make sure that I get you the answer. So, and yeah, that's it. We'll leave it at that.
Like Denise is going to be at the CrossFit Games and on Labor Day weekend in the 65 plus, and I'll be shooting video of her.
That's
so
awesome.
We'll have that to share on the show as well.
That's awesome. I'm excited for all. Yeah, I can't wait to see some of the games footage. So Chad, 1,000 step ups for time.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you heard, but we got full behind the scenes access at the Masters CrossFit Games. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be covering that behind the scenes, interviewing Denise,
awesome,
and Jamie Hygia and Becca Voigt and Val Robrel, who made it to the games this year, and all those super cool athletes.
All the OGs. Yeah. I'm just going to, can I just a little tangent here? For all my ladies in the chat, Jake, you can take this as you will. I know you're talking about men's hormones and all that. I made a podcast episode, or I did a metabolism masterclass, and a lot of you ladies that listen to this are in your 40s and 50s. Next time somebody tells you you should stop doing CrossFit because it's bad for your hormones, I want you to, the only reason I'm saying this is I want you to think about people like Denise that are 65 plus, the Val Vobrels, the Rebecca Voights that have been doing CrossFit for years, and they don't have the problems because CrossFit is not bad for your hormones. All right. So like there is a lot of good things. That was my only last tangent. So next time you are getting told that CrossFit is bad for you, think about those women out there, and also think about the other things that might be impacting your hormones that are not related to CrossFit that those ladies probably have dialed in. So that was my only other tangent. As I said, it's going to be a show about everything.
So with that, shoot us a DM if you have ideas for the show. Shoot us an idea if you have questions, And again, we want to celebrate everybody on this show, not just Cheryl and I, and we're going to have a good time doing that. We just need to reinvent it, come up with new slides, new backdrops, new music, the whole bit. And it'll be a fresh, new, clean version of what we have here in just a few weeks, because the games are 2.5 weeks away.
Yep.
With that, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, chat. You are always awesome. You make this show what it is, and that's why we want to include you more and more and more. With that, we'll see everybody next time on whatever we call this show. But for now, the Clydesdale Media Weight Loss Journey. Bye, guys.